So if you're hearing some sort of whooshing noise in the background, it's either the sound of my air conditioner going because it's so incredibly hot outside, or it's the sound of the vacuum being created by the Harry Potter film sucking all of the money out of the wallets of moviegoers. It's one or the other. As you might expect, anyone who was ever in a Harry Potter flick is back for this one, basically, unless the character was killed off, and sometimes even that doesn't stop them. I'm still not sure why Helena Bonham Carter got such high billing. She hardly says a word, and half the time when she does, it's actually Hermione saying it. That's because they use that disguise potion again, which is no surprise. The only surprising thing is that not everyone is using it all the time. I know they made a big deal about it being hard to make, but I don't understand why that isn't stopping a group of, say, teenage boys from disguising themselves so they can spy on the girls after gym class or broom flying class or whatever they do for exercise around that place. But I digress, which is also no surprise. When we last saw our heroes, I actually don't remember what they were doing at the end of the last movie, but when this movie starts, they're hanging out in a beach house. When last we saw our villain, Voldemort, played by Ralph Fiennes, though you'd never, ever know it to look at him, he was grave robbing to get hold of the Elder Wand, the most powerful wand ever made. That part I remember, though they also showed it again here. They recapped all of the stuff I remembered and nothing else, sadly. So for the first few minutes I felt like I was really scrambling to try and catch up. Okay, more like the first 60 minutes. They just have no pity anymore for those of us who haven't read the books. I'm not sure they ever had any pity, but they definitely don't have any pity anymore. Anyway, Voldemort, and let me just say here how much it alarms me that my spell checker recognizes that name, needs 3 things to become Master of the Universe. The Elder Wand, check. The Cloak of Invisibility, not check. And the Resurrection Stone, ditto. Harry has those last 2 things, so he's 2/3 Master of the Universe already. And, you know, actually, now that I think about it, that's pretty correct. Voldemort's strength, of course, is that he's really hard to kill, but it's also his weakness in a Dungeons & Dragons lich kind of way. His soul is scattered around and stored in these odd little things called Horcruxes that could look like basically anything. I did enjoy the looks on everyone's faces when Harry was trying to explain to some of the students at Hogwarts that they needed to help him look for something small and easy to hide. Yeah, way to be specific there. But if you can find the things, and it isn't easy, of course, destroying the Horcruxes will allow Voldemort to be killed. It's kind of like reading that spell in The Mummy. And since the kids didn't manage to find all the Horcruxes last time, that's what they're finishing up now, preparing for the big showdown. And, of course, it is a really big showdown. A friend of mine who has read the books explained that the final fight originally happened pretty much in one spot, I think in that great hall where they usually have their magical duels, whereas it roams all over the place in the movie. But that makes sense. Production value, of course. They've got to have, you know, big dramatic stuff. They've got things blowing up and burning. They've got stone statues coming to life and fighting to the death. They've got giant spiders getting in everyone's hair. The kids get drenched, nearly set on fire, and sometimes both things happen to them almost at exactly the same time. Oh, and there's lots of Death Eaters hanging around the place looking threatening. They really freaked me out at first, the first time they showed them in one of the movies, but now they just seem familiar and almost quaint. It's kind of like old friends coming back to visit. The Resurrection Stone was something of a letdown. I thought it would literally bring people back, you know, either in a good way or in a creepy, be careful what you wish for, monkey's paw kind of way. But it turns out it's just another chance to talk with some ghosts, and let's face it, that happens all the time in the Harry Potter universe, so it was nothing exciting. So while it wasn't a terrible movie by any means, it was better than the last one in some respects, because the last one just seemed like a lead-in to everything. It still didn't exactly thrill me. My friend, who I mentioned before, liked it quite a lot, so she'd probably give it 4 out of 5. The teenage girls who were sitting behind me, who were clearly rabid fans, really seemed to like it overall also, but they seemed to find one of the big scenes at the end that was supposed to be really serious to be just a little bit laughable, which is never a good sign. I found it silly myself, but until they giggled, I thought it was just me. They might also give 4 out of 5, but me, I'm gonna have to go with 3 3/4, just like the last time. And while I know some of you are mourning at reaching the end, I'm just glad I can finally get away from sequels and back to some superhero movies. Captain America actually looks like it might be promising, and I think it might make a refreshing change. I hope.